So when we're looking at Email Studio, we get a quick glimpse, just like Social Studio. We can see some of the information, recent items that were changed. If this was a live environment, I'd be able to see quick statistics on my recent sends. But for purposes of today, let's take a look at the content. How do I create the content? What am I able to do? What's my flexibility? So with Content Builder within emails, this is the same way you would build a cloud page, by the way, a landing page, is it gives you this drag and drop capability. Now, whether you have your own CMS, which we can syndicate to any CMS and pull in the assets that you have, or you can leverage this as your CMS. You're able to filter, you're able to look for certain blocks if you wanted to, depending on, I have 107 items. So if I just wanted to give me all my images, I could. But what Marketing Cloud really wants to do is make your life easier when you're building communication templates. We want to create reusable blocks. I can create an image block, an A/B test block, dynamic block. And then when it comes time to build the email, I'm just dragging and dropping. Let me start off with showing you I'll just show you an email that we're going to create from a template. We can create from HTML, text, existing email. I can leverage existing templates, blank templates. It's fully responsive. So if you don't fill in all the blocks, it's going to respond appropriately. I have some theme templates, but in this case, I've saved a particular template. In this particular template, I'm able to share it if I wanted to. So right now, it's just going to be available to my business unit, but if I want to share it across other campuses or other business units, I could. I can set permissions to view only, so they can't make changes, but they can only view and send, or I can make set it to where they're able to modify it to their heart's content however they want to and use it for however they want. So when we come in and define the content, we can see we have a couple of different options. Now, when we start looking at some of these blocks, every single one of these are just a block of code. In the template, I can define what block is locked or not locked. So if I wanted to lock this header, I could. If I wanted to lock all this other information, I could. So, and then to take it even further, I can lock this particular block to say only images can be dropped here, nothing else. So then it would just be a simple drag and drop. As you can see, this one is set to only allow dynamic content. So I cannot drop an image block in here. Now, when we look at this tab, these are all of my all of my various content blocks. So if I already had a header, a footer, if I wanted to drop in something, I could just drag and drop and I'm done. I don't have to recreate anything. But I want to show you how easy it is to create dynamic content. And what I mean by dynamic content is I want to send an email to all my prospects and all my applicants. I don't want to create 2 emails. I don't want to have to figure out who to send those 2 emails to. It's going to be driven based on their application stage, based on their recruiting stage. If they are a prospect, then they're going to get an email that is going to say, hey, apply today. So I'm going to select that particular content, and they're going to get this call to action, a place to call home, apply today. But what if someone's already applied? I don't want to miscommunicate with them. I want to have them go in and check their particular application through their process. So I can set it based on a profile or list. In this case, I'm just going to do profile. And you see here, I have recruiting stage. It's drag and drop. Now, this capability right here is how you're also able to leverage any kind of segmentation. It's all drag and drop. You're able to very quickly just type in information. I can continually add. So if I wanted to, I can group them together. I could do ands, ors, and it builds out the filter text for me, so I don't have to worry about knowing code particularly. So in this case, for this particular instance, if this stage, I can type, is equal to applicant, then I want to show them my applicant hero. So now I will come in and I will choose my application hero. And that quickly, I have created an email to where by default, they're going to get a place to call home, apply today. But if the recruiting stage is equal to applicant, they're going to get this email that says, picture yourself here, check your application status. So it saves me time to be able to quickly create this personalized dynamic content. And on the flip side, as a prospect or an applicant, I feel that you know me a little better. And so I feel like I'm a part of that. You really want me to be there because you're personalizing this for me. And at the same time, we can personalize anything we need to. And I could even do dynamic subject lines. So I could put apply today for those, or I could put check your application status. So it's very easy, very quick, drag and drop, responsive out of box. You can look at plain text. You can change the template layout. And then you can even take it a step further, and you can even take a look at your attributes if you wanted to, and to make sure that it's actually going to look the way you want it to look. So if I wanted to, I could select a particular list. And then based on their profile, we'll see, okay, it would change based on whatever this recruiting stage is, whether they're a prospect or if it changes and now they're an applicant, you can see the recruiting stage applicant, so it changed for us. We could also send a test email, etc. Now, this is where the power of Salesforce also comes into play. Because when you send, not only do I need to select an audience, I can select a list. What I'm able to do is I'm also able to select Salesforce reports or Salesforce campaigns. So if I needed to, I could just leverage that as my segmentation. If I had individuals, advisors, admission reps, whatever the situation is, who didn't have access to Marketing Cloud or any of the communication tools, they're able to still very simply just drag and drop the list. Now, it's very easy to create a list also. A list is, there's a couple different ways. So if the data is pulled in from CRM, then you can pull in your list, and here are all my different lists. If I wanted to add to it, in this case, I'll just use my recruiting admissions. I kept it small and simple because that way we can see the data. I can import it in. I can filter off of this. I can split. So if I wanted to filter and segment off this list, it would be just like what we saw. I see the attributes, and I can just put them over there, and I'm very easily able to segment out the list. This could be an automated process. This can be, if it's data coming straight over from CRM, then that list is already created for you. You'd have all your leads, all your contacts, etc. So then you would just come in and filter however you want to filter and however you want to segment. Now, we've got about 15 minutes. So what I also want to show you very quickly is how easy it is to create mobile messaging. Because when this strategy starts coming into play, statistics have shown that if you start deploying multi-communications, multi-channel to the individual prospects, they're more likely to be engaged, like 60% more. So we have several different templates. In this case, I'm just going to click on the outbound, and it's very simple. I'm going to apply today. I'm going to select my short code. Then I have a couple different send messages. I can schedule it or send it, or I can make it available in Journey Builder or in automation to use later. When I click, I'm able to get real-time feedback. And I can even do the link shortener if I want to. And it's real-time feedback, and I'm able to select the audience, or I can even move forward. That's how simple it is to create a mobile message. Yes, Ron, do you have a question?
Yeah, we have a question. I don't know if you went over this, but how easy is it to create a list?
Yeah, so depending if that list, you can either import directly. Very simple. You go into a list, you say import. If you had a list in a CSV file, that's one method. So it's very simple. It will take the attributes. If you wanted to automate it, let's say it's a reoccurring feed in from another system, Then you would set up that automation and it would just continually run. It would listen for IT to drop that file on an FTP, pick it up, and it would create the list for you. If it's data coming from CRM, that list is already created. Then you would just click on that list and segment out, just like I showed you a little bit earlier with the different filtering drag and drop capability. Does that answer the question?
It does for me. I think we may get a chat message if there's a follow-up, but you can keep going.
All right, sounds good. So in the last couple minutes, what I want to show you is Journey Builder. Again, this is where all of it comes together. Now, we're not going to walk through and configure all this just for the sake of time, but I believe this will give you an understanding, an idea of the power behind Marketing Cloud. So the first thing you're able to do is you're able to set a goal. And when you set this goal, maybe you want to say, everybody who comes into this journey, I want 45% of these individuals to apply. So then you're able to measure this campaign, you're able to measure the goal and get the metrics. You can tweak it as you need to if you need to increase or decrease whatever that goal is. Then it all starts with an entry event. Now, these entry events could be any number of things. It could be a cloud page where as soon as they hit submit, then they're dropped into this particular journey. And you would configure that to be that particular cloud page. It could be an audience. As soon as they're added to a particular list, then they're going to be dropped in this journey. But the power for me comes with the Salesforce data, because you can trigger off of any field that you want, whether it's a custom object, whether it's a standard object. If it's within CRM and you've set it up to integrate with Marketing Cloud, then you're able to trigger off of that. A great example would be, let's just say apply. Or as soon as they come in, if you had a field that said was application status, if that field changed to submitted, in progress, not started, whatever the case may be, it would within 15 minutes, based on your polling, drop them into this journey. So you're injecting it people based off of triggers, based off of what's going on in the CRM. So this is real powerful because you don't have to manually click a button to say, hey, send them on a journey to communicate to them. It'll automatically do it for you based on their behavior. And then let's say I want to send these individuals an email. Then I could send them an email. I'd configure this. I could wait X number of days. I could wait hours, weeks, minutes. Then I want to check if they were engaged. Did they click on any links in that email? I can monitor them all. I can monitor one. Did they open the email? Then I can take them down different paths. I'm able to then check, maybe they open the email, but reality is they can open the email all day. But if they didn't apply, it's still, I need to communicate to them in a certain way, but I might communicate to them differently than those who did not engage. So I'm able to quickly come in here. I can create a filter just like I've shown you this whole time based off that status field. Say if status equals in progress, that means they have not submitted an application. That would be path one. And I apologize for not configuring this, but I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time. But then at any time, let's say this person got an email, waited 3 days, they did not engage. Well, what do I want to do? Well, I would like to send them an SMS. I would like to target them specifically with an ad. So now that way they're getting hit with ads in SMS and multiple communication. And then at any time I can rejoin them back with a join. I can wait until they do apply and then take action. So I have a lot of flexibility, but the real power are these objects right here, because at any time through the flow, I can add a task. So they were engaged, but for whatever reason, they still didn't apply. So now let me set up a task for someone to call them and have that high touch point, because I want to make sure that everything is still good on their end. Or I can add them to a campaign member. What that means is essentially I can drop in a campaign member to this group of students or prospects, and now my direct mail piece, which is driven off campaigns, can only be targeted to these individuals. So I'm not spending a lot of money and a lot of time sending direct mail campaigns to those who are already engaged. So you're really able to connect to any Salesforce object and CRM object. And that's the power of Marketing Cloud, because it's being developed at the same time as the Salesforce CRM.